Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about the military-industrial complex. It's expensive. In 2009, 46.5% of all the military spending in the world was spent by the United States, according to a survey by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. We spend more money on the military than on any other category of federal spending, unless you count Medicare and Medicaid together as one category. We spent nearly $800 billion on defense in 2009, and of that, $316 billion went to contracts. That's a lot of money. But it's not only the cost that is troubling. The military-industrial complex gives us other causes for concern. For instance, it's inefficient. Numerous defense contracts have turned into money pits, including notably the F-35, which is supposed to be our next generation fighter jet and is years behind schedule and billions of dollars over budget. But projects like the F-35 are only a part of the problem. In 2011, the Government Accountability Office, the agency Congress uses to audit the government, found that it could not express an opinion on the financial statements of the DoD for that year or any year dating back to 1998 because of the unreliability of those statements. Congress has given the DoD until the year 2017 to get its shit together for an audit, but personally, I'm not optimistic. It's a corrupting influence. There is a third element to the military-industrial complex, a silent partner, if you will. That third element is the United States Congress, the body which authorizes and oversees the expenditure of all those hundreds of billions of dollars. And the relationship between Congress and the defense industry runs both ways, because defense companies that have grown fat on federal contracts are more than happy to give some of that money back. In 2012, the defense industry collectively donated over $24 million to federal election campaigns and spent another $96 million on lobbying. They tend to favor Republican candidates over Democrats, but not by that big of a margin. The group that they really favor is incumbents, no matter what their party affiliation. The defense industry spends tens of millions of dollars every year to convince us to keep electing the same people and to persuade those legislators to keep giving the defense industry what it wants. The complicity of Congress, the silent, invisible third point on this triangle, is largely responsible for the last 2 items on this list, the most daunting aspects of the military-industrial complex. It's not going anywhere, and it's in charge. The military-industrial complex isn't going anywhere. Its size, its political clout, and the fact that the American military is so hopelessly dependent on contractors, not only for equipment, but ever increasingly for manpower as well, mean that essentially we're stuck with it. And when I say it's in charge, I don't mean that in some paranoid, conspiratorial Alex Jones type of way. I mean that the Defense Department and its partners in the private sector get whatever they want. The military-industrial complex is like the bratty teenager that eats all the food and borrows the car whenever it wants. And Congress and the President are like its neutered, ineffectual parents that don't know what else to do other than keep the fridge stocked and the tank full. President Eisenhower coined the term military-industrial complex during his farewell address in 1961. That speech has since become one of the most celebrated presidential addresses of the 20th century because of how prescient Eisenhower now seems in warning us to guard against the influence of the defense industry. But you know, I think that speech may have actually done more harm than good in the long run, simply by introducing that term into our cultural vocabulary. Because fighting against the cost and the influence of the military-industrial complex might be a lot easier today if we still called it by its old name, war profiteering. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.